Hi, everyone. I am going to teach you today a little bit about how to research for your Revolutions final project. So, before you get started, I am on the Revolutions final project assignment sheet and organizer. Please make sure this is open. Hopefully, you have already looked at my model presentation so you know what I am expecting for the final project. So what I want to do is I want to click on roles and organizer because I just want to double check what I am responsible for. So if I scroll down, I see, Misty S is responsible for status quo and goals and short-term causes of the revolution. So that's how I'm going to start my focus. Now remember, we have provided sources for you already. They are located right here under all resources for final. Everything that I'm teaching you right now, you can apply to if you were to look at those resources as well. What I'm going to show you right now, though, is how to research using Google. So let's get started. Let's say I want to start with status quo. I'm going to open Google and I'm going to just ask Google, what was the status quo in society before the revolution? I'm going to take the Chilean protest as an example. So I'm going to go to my Google tab and I'm going to type in here status quo in Chile before the protest 2019. It's really important I put the year because that makes the search more specific. This is not the first time there were protests in Chile, and we're focusing on the 2019 protest. So I push return, and let's see what I've got. Okay, so the first thing is I want to look through, and I might want to just find a source that looks reliable or credible to me. And how do you know that? Well, I might just want to use my schema. Like, I've heard of the New York Times before. I know that's a good source. This says EDU, so maybe it's associated with the university. That's probably also reliable. So let's start with the New York Times. Remember, I typed in status quo in Chile before the protest 2019. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to click on the article and I am going to skim the article. I'm not going to read the whole thing because I don't have time. I'm going to skim the article to see if it has what I'm looking for. So we have protests, anger. Okay, that doesn't really talk about the status quo. Let's keep scrolling. Chile woke up, promising to be working. Okay, all right, interesting. The country moved from a dictatorship to a democracy in 1990. That seems good to me. And decades of economic growth and democracy followed. Also sounds good. But then I want to pause and say, well, wait a second, aren't I looking for some not good stuff? Because if I'm looking for not good stuff, that would mean, okay, what is the status quo? Why are people unhappy? Why are they protesting? So I'm going to start looking for more negative things happening in society. This to me looks all positive. So I'm going to keep going. Oh, wait. But the growth did not reach all Chileans. Inequality is still deeply entrenched. And I'm like, I don't know what entrenched is. So I'm just going to do a quick Google search. Entrenched definition. Okay, firmly established. So let me go back. Okay, so inequality is like pretty established in Chile. The middle class is struggling with higher prices, low wages, privatized retirement, bitter poverty, corruption, tax evasion. Okay, this to me, I think that this is going to be an important source. So in order for me not to forget what I just read, the first thing I want to do is I want to copy the website. So I did Control C. I'm going to bring it back over here. And if you see, I got to put all my links here. So I'm going to put that link in. And then I'm going to answer the question. So I'm going to write status quo. So again, this is just the beginning of my research. So maybe what I want to do is put quotations and copy and paste this over. Copy and paste it over so I don't forget. I can always come back to it. And I'm going to make a note for myself that says don't forget, need to put in my own words. I'm just putting it there as a space holder. Okay, so that's the status quo. Let's keep reading, seeing what else. We know that right now, I'm going to pause and say, all right, high prices for different items, low wages. Oh, I remember low wages. That was like the Mexican Revolution. They weren't being paid well. I see the word poverty. I see corruption. There's a lot of different things that are happening. I'm going to have to look up those words, but I think that looks good. So I'm going to keep scrolling. Oh, interesting. I know I wasn't looking up short-term causes, but I think I found it. Let's read what this says. In an attempt to restore order, President Sebastián Piñera scrapped the 4-cent subway fare that initially set off demonstrations. Oh, so I'm just going to pause and think, wait a second. So they must have been demonstrating because they increased their subway fare. And I'm going to use my schema. And remember when I lived in Mexico and the government raised the subway fares and there were protests as well. So I'm going to copy and paste it here. And I'm just going to write increased subway fares. I don't need to quote it because I understood it. I know that that's potentially one of the issues, but I'm going to have to come back to it. So I'm going to continue scrolling through this. I may look at the pictures. I may get some more information here. Let's take a look at another source. I'm going to go back. And let's look here. Oh, I see the word status quo. Really helpful. So let's click on that. I don't know about foreign policy being a legitimate source, but if I can look at it, I see that it looks legitimate. They have other news sites. And if I really wanted to learn more, I could read a little bit about the foreign policy and who the author is. This looks like a long article, so I think the first thing I want to do when I see a long article is not run away. I want to read the context. So let's start with this. Chile's government has sought for years to fix inequality problems that date to free market reforms under Pinochet. It just wasn't nearly enough. I need to look up who Pinochet is, but I do understand fix inequality problems. So I know that this article is going to be about inequality in Chile that is still happening. But the article is really long and I don't really want to read the whole thing. So I'm going to do a little trick. I'm going to do Control F and I'm going to look up status quo. I already know it's in there because I saw it in my Google search. So let's just read that paragraph. Today, Jackson, 32, is a congressman and leader of the Chilean left. He also represents a new generation of Chilean youth, unencumbered by the country's harsh authoritarian past under Pinochet. Okay, those are a lot of words I don't know. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause. And I keep seeing Pinochet, so I might as well just look up who is Pinochet. Okay, so I can just look. Wikipedia's got a quick thing on him. Totally okay to use Wikipedia for general information. So Pinochet was a Chilean dictator. All right, so I know he's a Chilean dictator. And I wanted to look up unencumbered. Unencumbered. At first, I have to learn how to spell it. Okay. Not having any burden. So let's go back. So it looks like young people are not really worried about the past. And I think, they're probably not worried about the past because they weren't alive for it. But they are eager to change the status quo. Okay, so this means, what is the status quo? Dismantling. So I know dismantling means taking away a system that has privatized healthcare, education, and water resources. Lot of distrust among Chileans. Okay, I need to look up some of these words, but I think this is really good. So I'm going to copy this over. I'm going to scroll back up. I think this is all about status quo. Again, putting it in quotations because it is not my own words. Oh, wait. I forgot to copy the website. That's important. Ms. DS thinks it's very important to cite your sources. Put it there. So for now, I'm going to pause on the status quo. I may decide that I want to put it in my own words now, or I can come back to it. Let's pretend, for timing's sake, I have put it in my own words, and now I'm ready to look up Goals. So I'm going to put little goals here. And I'm going to do another Google search. So let's open another tab. I'm going to close these tabs just so my computer moves a little faster. And let's do goals of Chilean protest 2019. Oh, so Wikipedia here already has the goals. Ms. Diaz said it's okay to use Wikipedia so long as I can back it up with other sources saying the same thing. They even highlight for me exactly where I need to go. So civil protests took place in Chile in response to a raise in the subway fare. Oh, great. That confirms what I already wrote. Increased subway fares. Okay? And the increased corruption and cost of living. Okay? And privatization and inequality prevalent in the country. So I can probably take a guess. I'm going to write this down so I don't forget. Looks like one of the goals is get rid of corruption. And the corruption probably has to do in the government because that's what we've learned about in the Mexican Revolution. Improve cost of living, because remember we read about the middle class having trouble paying for goods and services, and inequality. All right, I want to make sure I also cite Wikipedia, so I'm going to move that over. All right, let's see if that is supported by other websites. What's behind the Chile protests? Okay, maybe. Let's see what else. I'm going to look for where I can find something that says goals. Okay, so the New York Times said goals, so we know that's an option. Let's keep scrolling. Let's maybe go to Chile protest explained. Let's see if that has anything. Oh, okay, let's click on this. Chile protesters, we are subjugated for the rich. It's time for a change, I think. Oh, 7 protesters explained. Great. So I can learn a little bit more about the goals here. All right, so this man is a school teacher. Shout out to those teachers. The cost of living keeps rising and our money is badly distributed. So let me confirm that's what I already have. Improve cost of living. Okay, so we know that that works. And our money is badly distributed. So I'm curious to know, there's privilege for priests and politicians. Have to change the Constitution. Change the Constitution, I haven't seen that, but that looks like that could be another goal. So I'm going to add that. Maybe let's do change Constitution to be more fair. But remember, you want to find it on multiple sources so you know that it's true. Oops, that's the wrong one, sorry. Scroll down. Let's see what this Melissa wants. Oh, fought against the dictatorship. Changes I hope we will enjoy in 20 years. Okay, that's not really that helpful. Next, my daughter should want to fight. Okay, so fighting against a dictatorship. So we know that that might have a connection to getting rid of corruption. I'm not sure yet. I would have to keep reading. Oh, we see another thing with the dictatorship. We're seeing this still violate human rights like they did under the dictatorship. So I can confirm Wikipedia was correct. Get rid of corruption and improve human rights. So this is basically how you want to research and how you want to fill this out. You may copy and paste information from the websites, but you have to put it in your own words. Also be sure that you have the websites so you can cite the sources. Okay, so that's a little explanation of how you research for this project. Always feel free to ask me questions, and I will be around on the asynchronous days if you have anything you want clarified. Good luck.